A little bit of an icebreaker as we get into it, though. I was talking to my wife last night, and I was like, "There's this sixth sense we have where you do this job long enough, and you wake up in the morning, and you're like, 'Man, vibes are high. We're gonna run a fire tonight.' Like you feel it in your bones, you know." And I was trying to explain that to her, and I think she was gonna try to put me on like an episode of the X Files because she just couldn't get it. And last shift, sure as shit, like woke up, I'm like, I feel it. And then it was like 10 o'clock that night. I'm about to climb into bed and we get banged out. So I was trying to explain that to her. I was like, I don't even know where that comes from. Like, you've been in the service long enough now. Like, you've got to have that. Like, how would you even explain that? Right. I know you felt that.
Oh yeah, especially recently at work. I've had 3 first due fires in 3 tours, and that's a lot. I mean, anyone could lie and say, "Oh, that's the average," you know. But like that was a an understanding when my chauffeur said to me the other day. He goes, "I'm going home, but you're gonna go to a nice tenement fire today." I'm like, "Are we?" He goes, "Yeah, I feel it." He went home. 30 minutes later, we had a nice tenement fire. Went through a third alarm, right? So even the next tour, I say to the chauffeur, I go, I'm pretty hot. I'm just warning you guys, I am hot lately, you know, and I feel it for today too. And they're like, yeah, right. During lunch, down the block, another fire, right? And they're like, did you like you predicted that? I'm like, I'm just feeling it lately. I'm feeling it, but I know what you're saying. I don't know how you put that into words or into how do you express that feeling, but it's real, you know. It really is. It's a real feeling.
It really is. There's something about that energy, man. I don't know if it's with other people. Sometimes I feel it like I'm waking up in the morning. I'm coming into the work. I'm like, I feel it. And then other times, like, you don't want to say it too loud because you don't want to jinx it. But then, like, kind of under muttered breath, you know, you kind of like say it without saying it, like, man, I feel it. And then I say 9 times out of 10, man, it happens. It's a wild thing. And to try to explain it to somebody who doesn't get it, they're like, you're crazy. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Intuition. I was about intuition, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Now something I'd love to pound on you with is where you're at specifically, right? Like FDNY, known throughout the world. There's so many names now in the fire service that are almost like common house names when you talk about some of the expertise that comes out of the FDNY. And the service area is large and varied. I mean, all the boroughs have so much to offer. What I really want to lean in on though is where you're at, not just the call area and not just the response area that you have to manage, but just the culture and the people. Because I think just within stations and first due areas, you have your special niches just with the personnel that you're dealing with, you know, the community at large, but then also like your response area and the challenges that are presented. So I'd love for you to just kind of explain and get a little deeper, like not just FDNY, but where you're at.
So, you know, it's a real poverty-stricken neighborhood, and there's tragedy, there's violence, there's depression. It's really raw. And working in a neighborhood like that, we really are their last defense or their last hope for a lot of these people. So, and it's kind of unique in East Harlem because we go into the Upper East Side a little bit, not too far. We'll go second due down there, but the caliber of people there are very, very wealthy. And then, but our neighborhood, our response area, our first due area is the poorest in the city. So I see both elements of the response area, and now I'll take going to those projects as much as we don't want to go there, and as much as we live in those projects. I have no problem going and help people who really need help because we are their last line of defense, and it's an element of balance, and you can't fake it. Being a ghetto fireman is something that you can't impersonate. It's something that just becomes a part of you. It's ingrained in you, and it sharpens who you are as not only as a firefighter, but as an individual. So working in those neighborhoods, the poorest neighborhood in the city, it makes you a different kind of person. You see things differently, not only on the fire ground, but just in life.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like that, especially within the big cities, you have these socioeconomically depressed areas, and it adds a whole other layer and nuance to the profession, like how you got to deal with it. There's still, at least from my experience, there's still like a ton of gratitude that comes from the community, but there's definitely some arm's length stuff that's happening as well. And that can come into the operation side as well. like how readily available you're able to get into certain places, how open they are. Sometimes it's arms wide open, and other times it's like there's a little bit of reservation. You're not necessarily from this community, and you certainly feel that at times. It's both a blessing and a curse, but I'm sure with Spanish Harlem, it's got its own vibe, right? What are some of
Yeah.
those challenges that you see, like just tactics wise as well?
Tactics wise, the buildings are deteriorating around us. It is a really, really old neighborhood that has not been maintained at all over the years. So it is falling down around us as I mean, we're walking in the buildings and the stairs are falling and people are living like this, And the projects that are city owned, we spend a lot of time in there and we become the city super almost. And we are their only help. And we go there for water leaks and stuck elevators. And it's nuisance runs to us, but it's a nuisance living for them. So when we do come into there, they are open arms most times, even in the most gang stricken areas and gang stricken buildings and courtyards. Like they open their arms to us when we do come in. Tactically, though, yes, the hydrants have been blocked with cars. And since post COVID, it has completely changed the game of firefighting because pre-COVID they actually ticketed cars for parking on hydrants. Today, for whatever reason, post-COVID life, it's now a legal parking spot to park on a hydrant. So I can't wrap my brain around it, but that's the reality of it. So the engine companies are having a really tough time finding those hydrants. A good chauffeur knows where every hydrant is, but the problem is accessing that hydrant. As you see all the footage on YouTube or on social media with chauffeurs taking windows of cars. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. It is what it is, time and place. But we have to realize we're also very frustrated with the situation. So it's almost just a way to say, hey, listen, we need help to the PD. Like, come do your job, please. And it's not the NYPD. It's we have civilians that are meter maids to go around the city, and they're ticketing firemen outside of firehouses, but they're not ticketing cars on hydrants. So it doesn't make sense to me. But there are so many challenges in getting water on the fire. Yes, we always get that accomplished, but there's a level of stress now of accessing that hydrant that's very real.